This conference will now be recorded.
Well, good evening, everyone.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Hi.
So
Hello.
we have a few new people on board. Well, actually, I don't know if Lois can hear us, but she's in Greece. I would like to, well, I need to first try to figure out how to get this recording thing off of here. But anyway, I would like for Ms. Brittany Summerfield to introduce herself first before I ask for anyone else if they have some things they need to say.
Hi, you guys. I'm Brittany Somerville. I'm Andre's friend. I've been on this journey with him throughout the entire process. We met Miss Ritchie along the way. She's been an angel. I follow her page, and she talks a lot about you guys. So I may not know you guys personally. I may have never met you guys, but I do know a lot of you guys' story. So I'm in Alabama. I consider myself a part of the family. So if you guys ever need anything, I'm here. Don't hesitate to reach out. You can find me anywhere on social media. You guys can reach out to Miss Ritchie if you ever need anything. So it's nice to meet everybody.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for joining us.
Before we get started tonight, what I would like to do is just go around the table and first ask everyone if they have something to say, and then I will come back to you and allow you enough time to talk about what you want to talk about. And I think I will start with Karen this time. Karen, can you tell us, is there something on your mind that you want to discuss in this meeting tonight?
Anything tonight?
Nothing tonight.
No.
Andre? Do you have anything that you wanted to?
I don't have anything to discuss.
Wow, everybody's quiet tonight. What about you, Clarissa?
Not anything right now. I'm sure something will come up though.
Okay, McKenna?
McKenna, I think you're on mute.
Thank you. I said not entirely. I'm kind of playing catch up right now. So, I'm for those of you who don't know, I'm McKenna, and I am a RMC cancer survivor. I was diagnosed when I was 15 years old, and I live in Denver, Colorado. And Richie reached out to me to be part of the group and do what I can to be a moderator and be part of a support group for anyone who might need it. So I'm very happy to be part of the team.
Ms. Brittany, do you have anything that you want to discuss tonight?
Not right now at this moment.
Okay. Well, I want to bring up something. One thing that's just been burning on my heart is healthcare disparity and inability to get access to MD Anderson if you live in another state or you don't have insurance. I mean, what are your concerns? You know, those of you, I know, Andre, you did have insurance, but what were some of the obstacles that you had to go through to even get through to MD Anderson?
My situation was a little different because my insurance is kind of through the military or whatever. So I really didn't have a lot of obstacles getting in to MD Anderson. Like I let my military people know, and they kind of handled a lot of that for me. A lot of the ins and outs or whatever of trying to get me situated there or whatever. So I really haven't had any issues with getting into MD Anderson.
What about you, Karen? Did you have any concerns or issues trying to get into MD Anderson?
No, I didn't have any issues. I was referred from my doctor over at Baylor, and he sent me over to MD Anderson. And I have my insurance through work, so it's private insurance.
And McKenna, I know you were in another state, but did you at any one time try to get access to MD Anderson or just chose to stay where you were?
I think that was definitely an option with my family. My mom was kind of taking point on that because I was only 15. But I think what had happened was we did our research everywhere and found out that our children's hospital in Aurora, Colorado, was willing to do an experimental chemotherapy, which was kind of the only answers we could get. There's not really, obviously, like a set regimen for that. So thankfully, we went with them, and it did wonders for me. So yeah, there was no difficulty with that, especially because it was closer. I didn't have to fly anywhere or leave my family to go to another hospital. But yeah, we got pretty lucky with that.
Did the physicians at MD Anderson consult with your physician there?
I am not sure. I don't think so. I think there was someone who sorry, that's my cat. Someone from another hospital. Man, I can't even remember which one, but I don't think it was MD Anderson. And it was very short and brief, and they kind of had inputs and then came up with their own solution, or like experimental solution. So there wasn't really like a set in stone person that someone, communicated with for answers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Clarissa, I know as a caregiver, did Carlos have any issues or concerns?
No, I think like the only thing we had was like maybe a 2-week delay in one of like his treatments because of insurance. But he had pretty good insurance, like with being a teacher.
Because I really think the concern comes in when people that are working are then no longer able to work and end up on Medicaid in their state. And they want to come to MD Anderson, but in order to come, they have to put out so much money to even be seen by the physician. And I know when Chris was ill, he had insurance, but it was his condition or diagnosis was coded as a pre-existing condition. And had it not been for Dr. Tanier, we would not have gotten into MD Anderson. And I do know there are people that over in other countries that want to come to the States and get care, but it's the insurance is really prohibiting them from doing that. And in Joyce's case, I was hoping she would be on tonight, but she may not be feeling well. She paid to come down, and then of course COVID was active, so she basically had to go back home. Okay.
Hey,
Well,
Ms. Ritchie,
uh-huh.
an RMC patient, she's from California, actually reached out to me, just wanted to get advice or whatever. And, the conversation came up where she was saying her insurance, she had an issue with her insurance on trying to get to MD Anderson. I actually invited her on this call, but she didn't log in today or whatever. But we had a brief convo, and there was she said her doctors did reach out to Dr. Masal, and they were able to get her doctor in contact with Dr. Masal or whatever. So but I think she's still trying to get into MD Anderson.
And she does have private insurance, or is it state?
We didn't get that into detail or whatever. Next time I talk to her, I'll try to see. I'll try to get more info on that.
Yeah, we would love to connect with her. I know I'm working with Dr. Masal and Dr. Tanier and trying to get with administration there to see what we can do, because MD Anderson is the leading institution for research with RMC, but then so many patients are denied access. So once again, it's a healthcare disparity. And of course, with RMC being more minorities being affected by RMC, it just show you how inequality still exists even in the healthcare. So that is a goal of mine, is to see what we can do to ease the issues or the obstacles. I know we can't alleviate everything, but what can we do to, at least get them here, without having to worry about raising so much money to get here, and put the patient first versus the business. Okay, so I guess what we could talk about, we have a few caregivers on the line, on the call.
Let me just come in here. So my question in the chat window is, how did you get from New Jersey to MD Anderson, and how difficult was that certainly in terms of health equity issues, Carissa?
Well, we luckily our doctor in New York was good friends with Dr. Tanier. They were colleagues, and so she made it she was very helpful in making working on the clinical trials. I know she was the first doctor that we got treated. My husband got his first treatments with, and then we were still at the same hospital, but with another doctor, and they were going to recommend us on a different trial still in New York. But she convened with that doctor and was like, okay, is this the best route? So she was very helpful with that, our doctor. So we got very lucky, of her having the connections with MD Anderson.
And which hospital were you at in New York?
New York Presbyterian.
Okay, yeah, I mean which is a great hospital. Forgive my ignorance, but are there any other major cancer hospitals in the United States that have expertise in RMC, or only MD Anderson?
Right now, MD Anderson is the only one that have the clinical trials. There are other hospitals that do treat RMC patients, but they are the only one, as far as I'm aware of, that have the 2 clinical trials. But yet access is not easy, getting in there.
Right. I mean, I'm just thinking that had you been Sloan Kettering instead of New York Presbyterian, if that would have made a difference. I mean, it sounds like it all came together in terms of getting Carlos Carrasco to the right place, because you were fortunate enough to pick the right hospital where somebody knew something. I mean, was that just by chance?
So my husband was first getting his symptoms. He went to a urologist in New Jersey. But one of his best friends had parents that had cancer, so he's like, we should really try to get, and his parents went to Memorial Sloan Kettering. So we drove in the middle of the night one night and tried to go into their emergency room there. But you have to be it's a private hospital, so you have to have an appointment there to be seen and set that up. So there was barriers there, but New York Presbyterian was right across the street, so they just told us to go to the ER there, and we were able to get an appointment with the hospital at New York Presbyterian. Luckily there though, the doctors work closely with Memorial Sloan Kettering, so she was looking into trials over there as well. And she talked to Dr. Tinier because that was his the special he specialized in RMC. So they talked about like the best course of action. And like at the like his first treatment wasn't a clinical trial, it was like just like some chemotherapies. But she stayed pretty like once his cancer did come back, because he was in remission at one point, she like stayed pretty involved and referred us to like one at New York Presbyterian, like the Columbia sector.
Yeah.
But like once that stopped working, she was still involved and helped us make the best decision and decided to go to MD Anderson.
Okay. Okay.
I know at one time we had an RMC Alliance group where it was a group of scientists from all over the world and physicians that met, and the discussion was that, if they came up with a concrete protocol, they would start sharing it with the physicians. But I don't think it's gotten that far. What they have started doing is really being a consulting person. And Dr. Masal has been real active with consulting all over the world for children that have been, or young adults that have been diagnosed with REMC. The thing is, Dr. Chenier was the one that was supposedly world renowned when it came to REMC, and I think that's why a lot of people are directed to MD Anderson, because they were the main ones that really got interested in doing research on REMC.
So, and another question that comes to me from what McKenna said is that because you have, how many, do you have any idea how many people, say under the age of 21, are diagnosed with RMC, people in their teens, for example? Are there any numbers on that?
I'm sure there are numbers. I don't know them, but I can find out. I just know that when I was diagnosed, I think there was like 120 people in the world who had any known was diagnosed, and it was mostly in males, and I think the age is like mid 20s to early 30s or something. But I had only ever heard of, when I was diagnosed, one other teen who actually, his name was Xavier, and unfortunately he passed away, but he was the only other person that I knew who had RMC as well.
Yeah, I think the youngest child now has been 6. It used to be the age from 18 to late 30s is the patients that were diagnosed the most. But then now the oldest person has been 48 and the youngest has been 6 as far as having REMC. So, and now it used to be more prevalent in men, but now you see women, and it's increasing in women as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the reason I ask is because I wonder to what extent RMC is treated in pediatric hospitals as opposed to in cancer centers.
I know at Texas Children, because MD Anderson normally don't see children less than 12, so a lot of them are followed at MD Anderson. But for the most part, it's basically teenagers. But you are seeing, they're usually like 12 and up, but there are a few. I know Jelana's baby boy is, I think, maybe 9 or 10 now. I was hoping she would be on the call.
Right.
But it's becoming widespread more so. And one thing we don't have and that we really need is an REMC registry. We just don't have that. So I can remember back when Chris was diagnosed, they were seeing maybe 4 patients a month. So now they're seeing over 100 a year. So it does go to show you that REMC is not as rare as one would think. I think now it's being diagnosed correctly, whereas before we had so many misdiagnoses.
Mm. And when you say a registry, are you thinking of a registry of patients or a registry of doctors who treat RMC?
A registry of patients so that we can have statistics, you
Right.
know, as to age and, you know, their survival rate and those type things, just so that we would have something to compare. I do know the survival rate has improved dramatically.
Right. Ah, well, fortunately, the imposter Rick Davis has now changed her name because I was getting worried, you know.
I didn't notice that. It's because I came from GoToWebinar, it still recognized me as you. And so I'm like, because I've never logged in as Rick Davis on GoToMeeting, but because it's in the same system, it's like, that Rick Davis. No, I am not Rick Davis. I am Alexa Jett.
Okay. And thank you, Alexa. And Alexa was doing something for another, for a webinar that we're holding next week that Alexa is directing. So thank you, and welcome. And Richie, you were going to raise something on the caregivers, and I rudely interrupted you.
No, that's okay. That's okay. I was going to bring out, because oftentimes the caregivers are forgotten. You know, the focus is on the patient, and I, for one, being a caregiver, know how difficult it is and how you tend to worry more and care for the patient versus taking care of yourself. So who's the NA person? Did y'all see we have somebody here waiting for name?
I don't see it. Oh, yeah, I do.
What that means is somebody's coming in, but they just left.
They just left. We called them out.
Oh, it's Ghostbuster.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to do was just talk to Clarissa and Brittany. I know, you know, you may not be directly involved in Andre's care, but how do you feel as a caregiver, and what do you feel you need, you know, that would be beneficial to caregivers? Okay, we will call on Brittany first.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, for me, in the beginning, going through this with Andre, it was, of course, it was difficult. It was the first time I ever had to really take care of somebody, and it was difficult. I didn't know what to do. So I really just leaned on my family and my friends for support. His mom is a nurse, so just watching her take care of him helped me to know what to do or try to mimic her. But as far as, you know, just support, you know, for myself, like emotionally or whatever, I really never really thought about it because, you know, I was just always so focused on him and making sure that he was well. But, you know, in hindsight, you know, all I really needed was just, you know, support from my family and my friends and all the prayers that we could get. You know, we were very private, I guess you could say, with it. So that helped me because when I met people along the way, they didn't always question me about it. So it wasn't always on my mind when I wasn't near him. So it didn't feel like a daily attack, you know, trying to explain the situation to everybody. So, which was his choice. And, you know, now just looking back, you know, that helped me a lot, just, you know, with his situation being private. So, you know, that was my experience through it. Just, you know, support from my family and my friends and things like that.
So looking back at where you were and where you are today, what do you think are some things that could have been helpful for you to be on this journey with him, be supportive as well as being able to take care of yourself?
Well, just looking back, I don't know. Just I don't know if I don't know if I could really how to honestly answer that because I didn't have I, Andre's situation was, or I feel like it was so different than other people's story. My job was really supportive of me being out when I was there for him. So, I didn't have a lot of stressors that I hear people talk about. We didn't have to worry about like the insurance or finances or anything like that on anybody's part. So, I don't really know outside of just being afraid, just normal things, being afraid and things like that. Um, I don't really know if I just experienced anything besides, just being fearful of the unknown or anything like that. That just, of course, you know, um, it was a very emotional time for us or whatever, but I don't think I experienced anything that just took me away from my daily lifestyle or anything like that.
Okay. Clarissa, I know you had a really difficult challenge. Clarissa being relatively young, a newlywed, recent newlywed, and then having to travel from one state to another. So how did that impact you? And then what did you do to take care of yourself, if indeed you feel like you did?
Um, yeah, I guess I was more focused on Carlos. I mean, like he was like very positive throughout the whole thing, so like that gave me strength and made it like made it easier. Um, I know like it was good like talking to you, Richie, just to have like those things and just talking through, um, just trying to make uh trying to balance everything. Um, and I think I was like thankful too, like being able to find like resources, like helping out, like with flights. I know like the housing where we stayed at Dan's house whole was a big thing for us. Because like I really enjoyed having like a sense of community and being able to talk to other um, caregivers and patients around the same age. Um, there. Um, so yeah, I guess like um I guess it's just really hard to I guess focus like really focus on yourself though when you're going through that. It's I don't think I would like change much on like on that. I know like right now I've been like trying to focus on myself and taking that time.
Okay. We had Joyce on, but looked like she's off again. Okay. So Karen, I know you're a patient and you have a young daughter. What's the challenge there of having, the illness and having all the different appointments and then taking care of a child too?
I guess the challenge is trying to keep everything as normal as possible for her. Just, being a mom, because she doesn't really, she's been through this journey with, me losing my hair. And when mommy got a wig, she got a wig. So kind of just keeping everything positive for her and not, not really dwelling on it. And just, staying positive. And honestly, she's my motivator. She's my driver. So staying positive to her helps me stay positive.
Exactly. Is there anything that you feel that we could have done or that you see that we could do as far as support?
I mean, Richie, you've been there a lot. I reached out to you, and you stepped in, and you came to the hospital to see me. And I mean, you've been there, every step of the way. And if I needed something, you've always responded and responded quickly. So I just appreciate knowing that you're there and that you have access to resources that I may not have access to. And um, that's been a good help and support, knowing that that this group and there are people here who I can talk to, and you're just not alone. My mom has been my major caregiver, and she's very, let's get to it, like Carissa. She's more worried about me than herself. So, but that's who she is. That's the type of person she is. So,
Right. And that's what mothers do.
exactly.
Alexa, what do you have to tell us tonight? And welcome. We're so glad you're on here.
Thank you. I don't have a whole lot to say, but I am glad that everyone's here. McKenna, it's good to see you again. I'm sorry that things have been so difficult. And I'm always happy, of course, seeing Mama Richie and Carissa and Andre.
And then we have, I don't know if you met Brittany. Brittany is Andre's friend. I mean, they're on the opposite side of the screen. I don't know what that means, but I met her. She's a beautiful person.
Aw.
She really is. I guess Lois got off, and one thing I want, anything else anybody want to say as it relates to support or emotional support? What do you feel you need, especially the ones of you that are still going through treatment, and what can we do? What do you think we should do? Because we want to get better and we want to be, I guess we just want to do what we can for you to make your journey a whole lot easier.
Oh, Richie, can I just mention one thing I did mention before? I think that you just what meant a lot is just that I could reach out to you like at any time, and you made that like a point. So it, because that, like, you can't like, with being a caregiver, you have your moments, and sometimes they usually don't come expected. So just having that, like, and you like emphasizing that, like, I'm here for you, made like a big difference.
Let them know that I did pick up the phone at 2 a.m.
Yes, yes, and drove to the hospital, in the middle of the night for me during COVID.
I want to say that you're a better caregiver than I am, Richie, because I turn my phone off at around 9:30, and that's it. Because there's only so much. I think as a caregiver, and Joyce is back. Hello, Joyce. We'll come to you in a moment. I'm glad you're back.
Don't leave us, Joyce.
Don't leave us. I think it's very important for caregivers that you know how to take care of yourself. It's all well and good. Hi, Joyce.
Hey, Joyce.
Hello, hello. It's all well and good you being there for whoever you're providing the care for and being an important figure for them. But one of the biggest problems, I think, for caregivers is they forget that they need somebody to take care of them. And that's what Carissa is saying when she knows she can reach out to Richie. Now, somebody has to do that for Richie, too. Because we sometimes, there's always the person who's sort of at the top of the food chain, the caregiver at the top of the food chain, but who reaches out to the caregiver at the top of the food chain? Very often no one. I know that from where I sit, because my life is basically around providing support and care. And I have in the past done it intimately for real close friends and lost those friends. So I have that experience of providing care, but I also know as a caregiver that you need to, and don't forget that. I mean, you know, yes, you're there. Brittany's there for Andre, and when Andre's going through his chemo and he's real sick, she's always there. But when she comes home, somebody's got to be taking care of her as well. And you know, it's when you have to come home and then you got to figure out, oh, what am I going to eat tonight? It ain't so much fun. Mm-hmm. So I want to ask Brittany, how do you take care of yourself?
Well, like I said before, you know, I had a lot of support, you know, from my family and my friends.
Mm-hmm.
My mom was a cancer patient as well, so it was, you know, my parents supported me, and they basically, you know, pretty much held my hand when I wasn't able to be with Andre when he was in Texas and I was back home in Alabama. You know, those times were difficult as well. So, you know, like I said, you know, I had a lot of prayers being, you know, prayed over me, and you know, my closest friends, you know, they tried to keep me busy, and of course, I have programs through my work, and they allowed me to use those resources, so I was able to, you know, maintain you know, a healthy mental throughout the process. So,
what do you do? What do you do?
I'm sorry, what was that question?
What sort of work do you do?
Oh, I'm a store manager for CVS Pharmacy.
Oh, right. And CVS was good to you when they knew that you were providing care?
They were.
That's good to know. I shop at CVS. Now I'll feel even better about shopping at CVS. Okay.
I was thinking too.
My CVS card number, should I give it to you?
See, my job wasn't as nice. I had to end up resigning so that I could take care of Chris. So, and
Yeah.
two of us out of work. So, and I think, Rick, I know you said that I need to, you know, reach out to support, but I had my family is very supportive. I think that's why I make myself available to all of the Andre, you know, and even Brittany and Joyce, you know, and Clarissa and McKenna. You know, I just want them to know that I don't care what time of the day, what time of the night. If they need to talk, I want to be here for them, because I know there were times that I was up late at night and I didn't have anyone to talk to. And sometimes you don't even have to say anything, you just listen.
Yeah.
You know, so, and I think just knowing that they can pick up the phone and call someone does make a difference.
Right.
Well, we have Miss Joyce on the video. Hi, Joyce. We can't hear you.
Oh, you're muted. You have to open that microphone, Miss Joyce. There's going to be a little microphone icon, and you'll need to just tap it, and then it'll turn green. Right now it's red. There you go.
Okay. Okay. No, I think for me, I kind of put myself in a little shell for a little while. I was a little disappointed from some chemo stuff that was going on, and I kind of shut down. But to know that you are very open to those late night calls, and I'm usually up 2 and 3 in the morning, that makes me feel a lot better to know that I can do that and you okay with it. 'Cause It was rough a couple of months ago. Yeah, but I'm getting better. Yeah. Yeah.
You're doing well. You're just so positive all the time, regardless of what you're going through. You're just always been a beacon of light, and you give me strength.
Oh, good to know.
Joyce, tell us a little bit about yourself, because some of us don't know you.
Okay, tell me what you want to know. First of all, I don't know.
How come you're on this call?
So I'm 43 years old, 2 kids. I was diagnosed with RMC November of last year. I've done 9 months of chemo so far. Not too successful per se. Tumor still growing, still got the kidney, still patiently waiting to get it removed. I just had some scans done today, as a matter of fact. So I'll hear something tomorrow moving forward, as to, what's going to happen next. Unfortunately, it did metastasize to my lungs, my intestines, but stable. Hadn't spread anymore. It's all stable. So,
That's good.
yeah.
That's good. And I'm figuring that you must be treated at MD Anderson.
Actually, I am not.
Oh, where are you?
I tried it back in March. Didn't quite work out. So I'm actually at UNC Cancer Hospital in Chapel Hill, North Carolina.
Oh, you're at UNC in Chapel Hill. Okay. And I'm curious, what made you choose UNC over Duke? Or was that an issue? Did you think of Duke or UNC, or how did you get to UNC rather than Duke?
I was already linked into the UNC system via my
Okay.
rheumatologist and pulmonologist, so it kind of went UNC.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
yes, I'm a Tar Heels fan.
Yeah, so it wouldn't be so good with those Blue Devil fingers messing around with you, would it now?
Exactly. Gotta have my Tar Heels.
The reason I ask that is because we have a lot of experience working with the GU doctors, oncologists at Duke, and we know them. There's a couple of really great ones there. Whether they're good for RMC, I don't know. We know them mainly from prostate cancer, where they're super, really good guys, and we go back a long time. And when people ask us who are in that general area, and that happens quite often because that Virginia, South Carolina, the resources aren't as good. So we'll usually send them to Duke rather than to UNC. So that's why I was curious. Okay. Having nothing to do with the basketball.
Okay.
I would like for Joyce to share a little bit. Joyce, we were talking about healthcare disparities before you came on, and the lack of the ability or obstacles that we face trying to get access to MD Anderson. Can you just share your journey briefly with the group so that they can just see that, there are inequality?
Kleenex, get some Kleenex. Oh boy. So initially UNC just thought they could help me, and three cycles in, they couldn't. They told me I needed to go to MD Anderson. There was nothing else they could do for me. I started chemo December 2019. They stopped my chemo January 30th because the scans that they saw said that the tumor had tripled in size in a month's time. But later on, I'll tell you what really happened with that. But they told me I needed to go to MD Anderson. There was nothing they could do. There was nobody in the area that could help me, meaning Duke. Virginia, nobody. I needed to go to MD Anderson. My friend started a GoFundMe page. I happened to be on Medicaid, and MD Anderson does not take Medicaid out of state. So I called, made that appointment. They told me I had to have $1,700 up front before I could even be seen. We raised the money. Me, my two kids, my son's girl, we all flew out to Houston. I was determined to stay and get treatment. I didn't care what it cost. I was going to do it. But when I got there, COVID had started. They were shutting everything down literally that day. I saw Dr. Mansour. He basically said that I would have to win the lottery in order to pay for services at MD Anderson. There was no way I could afford it. No way. He told me, get back on a plane, go home, get treated in North Carolina the best way I can. He would help with referring certain meds, things of that nature, but no, couldn't be treated at MD Anderson. No. And I still paid for that appointment that day just to talk. Yeah. Yes. So I flew back home, started treatment, had a little bump in the road, but by the grace of God, I'm back up and doing a lot better. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So that's it in a nutshell. There was some in between stuff. The scans that were taken prior to me going to MD Anderson, there was an 8-week gap in between the scans. So Dr. Mansour said that whoever did that was like off, really off, because they don't even know if the tumor had really grown or not because they didn't do the scans properly. Gave me too much time in between. Yeah, and during that time, things spread. Yeah.
There's Lois.
Yeah. But I'm here, kicking butt. I'm here.
Right. That's right.
I'm
You
here.
God bless you. It's hard to hear those sorts of stories, especially when you're at a hospital like MD Anderson or UCSF or Memorial Sloan Kettering or Northwestern in Chicago, because it seems to me that, especially for rare diseases like RMC, there should be funding available within the hospital. I think this is what Richie is saying. Is it not, Richie? Lois, we'll touch base with you in a minute, but I'd love to hear from Richie on, what does MD Anderson say about that when they turn away people and there are so few places to get treated?
It just doesn't seem like they're interested in the individual person. They're more interested in their revenue. And we know that, they get a lot of money donated, but the money is basically donated to research, because I can tell you back in 2011, 2012, a lot of the money that go into general funds for research at MD Anderson, they didn't give any to the urinary department so that they could focus on treating RMC. They felt that it was a rare cancer and it did not affect that many people, so it was really a moot point. So I think now that we have Dr. Tanier and Dr. Masal on board and really being champions for us with RMC, things will change. They had talked about we're going to have a meeting, trying to meet with administration to see if we can change that mindset. And in the budget, allocate money so that we can bring families down, or even the patient down, because they will need a support person down here so that they can receive state-of-the-art, treatment at state-of-the-art institutions. So that's where we are now. definitely need money allocated for non-resource patients.
We were hoping that they would write that grant with us, but they never came through.
And he never responded to anything, even my emails when I sent it in to him.
Yeah, well, next time we'll figure out a better way. Next time we see a grant, you and I'll huddle and we'll figure out a better way. But I will say this about MD Anderson. We have a couple of go-to doctors that we use in the GU group. One of them is Dr. Korn, and he has always been open to talk and to confer with doctors in other parts of the country, which has been really rewarding many times. And money has never been an issue. Now, obviously, it's different if you go there and you want to see the actual doctor. But in terms of them actually being willing to confer, that they've been really good. So.
And I think Dr. Tanier, he's very passionate about it. I don't know if you got an opportunity to listen to the video on our website, but he's very, very concerned that patients aren't receiving the quality care because of, lack of access to MD Anderson. So I know he's on board with trying to make a difference. And certainly we want to also be there with him because we know it's a problem.
Well, if there's anything that we could, when you have that conversation, if there's anything we can do to help you, we'll be there, because we do we refer a lot of people to MDA.
Right.
And I will say that most of the time, the people that actually do go and have an appointment because they have the insurance are very satisfied with the care that they get, which is a good thing.
Right. And that's not the issue at all. It's just getting in the front door of the hospital. That's the main thing.
We should talk to Lois. But Lois, first of all, you have to enable your microphone. Can you figure out how to do that? Joyce did it. Joyce, I gotta tell you, Joyce figured it out. Can you see where you have to, there's gonna be a little microphone somewhere, a little red microphone, and you have to tap it and it's gonna turn to green, hopefully.
Because I think she did it when she first came on.
Yeah. No. Yep. No. Ooh.
If she can flip it, she's close. If she can flip the image, she is close to getting it.
Yeah. So who else is on a device? Either Brittany or Joyce, can you give her an idea where it is?
Dare not ask me.
You did it, lady. You did it.
I may send her going somewhere else.
Oh, now we lost the image too. Oh, gee. Well, we'll keep talking, and when we see her come back on with a green mic, when that little red turns to green, then we can hear her.
While we're on too and waiting on Lois to try to get on, so we're going to be doing the live peer-to-peer group starting in October.
Yeah.
So it's the second Tuesday in October. So we need to make sure we spread the word. Now, we don't want any more. What did you say, than 10? Rick, that's a good number, or 15?
10 to 15 is a good number, but I would say to you, invite and see how many you get, and if you get a really good response. Oh, we got Lois. We can hear her.
Do you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Yeah. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Finally did it.
Good.
We're all over the place.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, I could hear you all the way through, but I couldn't sort of fix it. Now I think it's okay now.
You're doing great. Where are you? Where are we listening to you from? Where are you?
I'm in Greece, in Volos, Midland right now.
Okay.
Yes, us.
Yeah, yes, oh, that's some Greek, right? Okay, that's hello, right? Anyway, now I'm with my son here and Fenina. So some of you may have heard about her case. Fenina is in Thessaloniki now with her dad, trying to fix some blood, her blood test, because our platelets are down. So we need to fix it until the next round.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. How far are you from Thessaloniki?
About 2.5 hours drive. Yeah, 2.5 hours drive, right.
Right.
We were here on Friday night, but on Sunday, last Sunday, we checked her blood, and the platelets were really, really down because of bortezomib. That was the last medicine that we got. So she needed to go back to hospital, and now she's still in Thessaloniki trying to fix the blood test, the count. Yeah.
Lois,
Until
I'm sorry. I was just want to know if you could just share a little bit with them about Fenina so that they can catch up a little bit.
Yeah, right. Fenina is 15 years old, and she was diagnosed last May, actually. The whole thing started in February, last February, having an ache in her right femur. Am I saying it right? Mm-hmm. Aching. She was an athlete. She was doing track events, and it felt natural to the doctors that her leg was aching. So some weeks passed, and then she started coughing. And they thought it was COVID. That took us to the end of February, beginning of March, and then she started having some low fever as well. And then we had to go to hospital here in Volos for a COVID test, which was negative, of course. And then we got out. Coughing was getting worse and worse. And it was, I think, 13th of March or 15th of March, where we were sent to Thessaloniki, to another hospital, for checks. Lots of testing and checks again. And then the MRI was a disaster when we finally got an MRI. It was 19th of March. And then a biopsy from her armpit. You know, there was a lump, a node, how you call it, in her armpit. And it was difficult to find where it came from. It was definitely a carcinoma, but nobody here could see what it was. It was very strange because actually it affected many organs. It affected liver, the lymph nodes, bones, and lung. And then we went to the child hospital for cancer. There is a department for kids in Thessaloniki. So again, we were transferred there. She started therapy without knowing exactly where it started from. That's the basic thing. And then the sample was again tested in that second hospital in Thessaloniki, that's Hippocration, from Hippocrates, the ancient Greek doctor. Yeah, you'll know that. Still, they found that diagnosis was adenocarcinoma, or poorly differentiated. They thought it was from the ovaries. That's how they estimated. But then it was April. The therapies continued, and it was mid-April when we had not an MRI. What's the other? What's the other test called?
PET or CT?
We call CT, yeah, a CT scan, and the belly area was clear. So again, they had a problem spotting the area where it started. They couldn't see, the sample could not be read in the right way. So they sent the sample to Athens, to another hospital which is specialized in kidney matters for kids. And there they found the actual diagnosis. And that took us to mid-May. Beginning of May, we had the RMC diagnosis in Greece. And we were left with a diagnosis that nobody in Greece knew about.
Wow.
Not in Thessaloniki, not in at least, maybe not even as a name. They just found what it was, that it started from kidney, the right kidney, but nobody knew anything about it. So the head of the department in Thessaloniki got the answer from Athens. This is it. We continue therapies. We don't know anything about it, and that was about it. And a cousin, not a cousin, my husband's sister, Maria, Richie, you may know her name, Maria Vasilou. She comments on your post on the organization's post sometimes. She's my sister-in-law. She's a nurse, and then we were talking. We were devastated. What is this? What is RMC? I mean, nobody knows about it. And then she said, abroad there are support groups for all these rare disorders. And she had the idea of Googling, of searching. And then we started with Cora's RMC support group, where we had the first, let's say, contact. I wrote to them, and then we started emailing the two doctors, Pavlos and and Professor Tanir and Professor Mzawel. And that's how it started. And they thought the first line treatment was really helpful to Fenina, because mid-May she had almost cleared everything. I mean, kidney, liver, bones, lymph nodes, everything was clear apart from her right lung. The lung area was seriously affected because she had liquid, lots of liquid. For 2.5 months, from March towards mid-May, she had billows. Do you know what these are? Do you know billows?
Bilious?
There are. She had liquid in her lungs.
Yes. Yeah.
And she had some kind of tubes actually from her right and left lung, where the liquid was draining. Yeah. Actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was over. That was from the beginning of our hospitalization, and this device was over sometime in mid-May. She finally managed to sort of to recover from that. Now, the areas that are still affected, according to the August scan, the PET scan that we had in August, and the MRI, is the right lung. There was the right breast was affected in the summer as well, and some other limbs around the armpits. That was the, which is actually a bit worse than May's PET scan. But none of the previous areas are, let's say, reactivated. The very new spot was the right breast, which was really swollen in August. But after the last cycles, there is an impressive improvement in her condition. She's really doing fine. She feels very, very good. Her breast is not that swollen, and it's a lot softer because it was very hard when we did the PET scan in August. And now we move on with the new cycles with the medicine. We alternate two different cycles of regimen according to the doctors in MD. I didn't tell you that there is an ongoing communication, let's say, with the doctors here in Thessaloniki, because actually they didn't know how to move on. We were lucky. Pardon?
Yeah, how to treat it. But what I'm very interested to touch base with McKenna, because I don't know if you have you McKenna, have you and Lois spoken before?
I think we've talked on Facebook and Messenger with McKenna.
Yes, we did.
So, you know, McKenna got diagnosed at 15. Does this sound at all familiar to you, McKenna?
Yeah, I mean, the sighting where in the armpit, I didn't have anything there, and I didn't have fluid until after.
McKenna, is something going on with the volume?
Something's going on with your microphone since you came back. You were crystal clear before, my dear.
You're having some feedback.
Okay, is that better?
No.
No.
No. Don't know what's going on, because I'm really, really interested to hear from you, because this is like right in your ballpark.
How's this? Is it still bad?
Try and go out and come back in again. Can you do that? Leave us and come back in again, because I for one am very interested to know how similar, Lois, your daughter's experience is to McKenna. Because anyone, I'm just thinking, is there anyone else? Oh, here she is again. Let's see if she's clearer this time. Well,
Okay, what about now?
Perfect.
Okay, good. That scared me. So like I was saying, I didn't have, my lymph nodes weren't in the armpit. It was my neck, and I didn't have any fluid until after my right kidney was removed, and that was like a fluid pocket above my pancreas. But I mean, it does sound, it's a little bit different as far as like where it was discovered, and the symptoms. I didn't have pain in my leg like you said she had. I actually had shortness of breath, and I had, I think, headaches and pain in my back. And then that's when that's kind of what got the ball rolling into the diagnosis. But they did biopsy that lump, so that was similar. They immediately, they wanted to just like take a little sample of it, but when they went in, it was a lot bigger than they had expected. So they biopsied it and they ran the test and they said it was RMC and they expected it to be lymphoma. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much, I think that the diagnosis for your daughter is different than mine, but it is, I think we did take similar steps as far as, finding symptoms, getting tested, and then all of the scans, and then, surgeries as well. So yeah, that sounds like a lot that she had to go through.
And how long? How long have you been clear, McKenna?
Since, oh my gosh, it's all a blur. I think it's been 4 years now. 4 years in January. It'll be 4 years.
Awesome. So,
Yes.
so you were diagnosed at 15, and
at 15.
And at what age were you clean?
16.
16. Okay.
Yeah, 16.
Wow. Took about a year. Well, I guess what we want you to know, Lois, is that you can have a good result. Look at this beautiful lady that's here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very promising. I sort of keep admiring McKenna, and there's always hope, especially now that I see that Penina is doing fine. I mean, apart from, and she doesn't seem to have any side effects. These last cycles seem to suit her a lot. I mean, apart from the drops in the blood counts, she doesn't have any other side effects and any other difficulties. Her breath is perfect now, because in the beginning, like McKenna, she had shortness, especially until she started therapy. When we were in Volos, there was difficulty. And until she had this device for the liquid in her lungs. But now she's fine with that. The doctor said that the fact that she was an athlete helped a lot, because the condition of the lungs is getting better because of her exercise, and she could cope with all the trouble quite easily. But we're just looking for the next scans, actually, to see how these spots are now, these areas. I mean, actually, the lymph, the lung area, and the breast, actually, these are the things. And of course, we are always anxious that something of the previous areas might be reactivated at some point, because we cannot be assured that nothing like that will happen again. Nobody can tell that. Nobody can tell that, actually. So yeah, it is. It's really tough. I mean, it's a tough disease. I'm trying not to read about the numbers, the statistics seem to be against us, but I'm trying to sort of forget about these. Yeah. So yeah, if there is another meeting, we'll have Penina as well.
Oh, I hope
that would
so.
be great. We would love that.
Yeah.
And who on the call here has maybe any questions for Lois or any words of comfort for her? Who'd like to say something to Lois?
Does it matter who starts?
I-
Okay, I'll
oh,
start.
You
okay,
start.
Joyce.
I'm sending hugs and lots of love and
Okay.
trusting the dream that
Yeah,
everything that she's going through, she'll be here to talk about it. She will.
yeah,
She'll be here.
yeah,
She'll be here to talk about it.
yeah. And hopefully this sort of adventure will be over soon. And yeah,
Yeah.
I think Andre probably could give some words of encouragement as well as Karen. Andre?
Put 'em on spot.
I was I can say a few words of encouragement. I was actually diagnosed in
I can.
April.
Sorry, I cannot see apart from some. What can I do to see uh, the rest of the faces? I've
Well,
done.
unfortunately, if you're on your phone,
Yes,
if
I'm on.
you,
Next time I'll try to do that on my computer, which will be better.
yes.
Anyway, that's okay. I can hear you, and that's yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Andre, is that
Yes.
the right name? Okay.
That's correct. I was diagnosed with RMC back in April 2019. Um, Man, it was unknown as well to me or whatever, but I made it down to MD Anderson, went through chemo treatments and therapy treatments and
Yeah.
uh, radiation or whatever. But hey, I'm here to say that I'm no longer doing chemo. My scans are clear, and I'm looking forward to being a support and being help to everybody else.
Very, very, very promising. I think I read about your case. Richie, you uploaded something, huh?
Well,
About
I hadn't really given his name because I'm waiting on his
yeah,
story, and I know people are out there waiting too. So,
yeah. I remember a picture about the clear scan, right?
I didn't put his picture up, I don't think. Did I, Andre? Or did I? I don't think so.
Mm-mm.
Because we're waiting. Andre has been relatively private throughout his a
Yeah,
little over year journey. And I think now he told me he was ready to get out there and tell his story to give others hope. But
yeah. Because yeah,
waiting
I
for
think
You know, the,
yeah, I remember reading something about Andre.
yeah, okay.
Right. Okay. That's
Because we
Lois,
want to post more positive than negative. I mean, because RMC, you hear more negative than positive. So we want to brighten up everybody's life and give them hope. That's the main thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Lois, if you and everybody, if
yeah.
you go to ancan.org, I put it in the chat window. That's A Alpha Nancy Charlie Alpha Nancy, ancan.org. You'll
Yeah.
be able to find the page on the RMC group, this group, and you'll be
Mm-hmm.
able to see the pictures and the stories of all the moderators. So in the chat window, Alexa just put Andre's profile, and you can go there. And also, if you can sign up there, so you get a reminder before each meeting. So
Okay.
we'll send out a reminder if you go to the Contact Us page or on that page and sign up. But you can see some pictures on that page.
Okay. So, is the next meeting organized or not yet? Something about Saturday?
No,
We would. I was talking to Rick about it. He said he wouldn't be available, but maybe a room would be. I was thinking that maybe And I wanted to bring it up to the group tonight. If we can do like every other month or so on a Saturday around 10 a.m. our time, and that way it would be a good time for Lois and other people, because it's another
Yeah.
young man that's been diagnosed. I think he's 12. That live in Spain. So there
Spain.
are people.
Actually, I wanted to ask, are there any cases from Europe that you're aware of?
They're not good outcomes right now, but yes. Nicola lost her husband to RMC, and she lives over in London.
London. All right. Yeah, some cases in London, right. So in United Kingdom, Spain, now Greece, not many actually. Maybe there are misdiagnosed cases still in Europe.
That's what I'm thinking.
It's possible.
Very
The
possible.
answer, Richie, is that yes, of course you can have the room on a Saturday if you want to use it for an international meeting. We'd be delighted. And I'll work with you on that. I try to take Saturdays off, so that's the one day I try not to do any work. So I'll pop in or I won't, but Alexa's certainly around, and we can add a Saturday once a month, and then I forget, what do we have? Second Tuesday? Is that what we set up? Yeah. So you can have a Saturday. Maybe you want a second Tuesday and a fourth Saturday. It's up to you.
And I would like to get the group consensus, because I look like it's hard sometimes trying to think of things to talk about. So it's whatever the group decides. What do you guys think?
Well, a Saturday sounds a bit more, let's say, suitable for us. But anyway, in our case, it depends on where we are. If I'm here at home, that's fine. But if I'm in hospital, the time difference might be difficult to talk because everybody's sleeping at that time. And you don't hear a thing 3 or 4 a.m. In the hospital ward. But if we are out, like in Volos, yeah.
But if we did a Saturday, we would do it at say 10 o'clock in the morning, which would be like 7 o'clock in the evening for you.
Yeah.
It would be an early meeting.
Yes, if it's Saturday, no, that's fine by me. But it depends on what the others want, okay?
So a couple of things I just wanted to say to everybody in the group, which is that don't be shy to bring things up. Richie says, well, we don't have a lot to talk about, but you all have a lot to talk about, but you got to bring it up. And when we say to you, what's on your mind? Would you like some time to talk about something? Say yes, because there's got to be stuff there. Because look, this is fantastic that you can talk to other people that have had RMC. Joyce, what's on your mind? What would you like to ask these other people RMC?
I think for me, the lung issue has been somewhat difficult because I already had scarring in the lungs from Sjogren's, and to now have the lymph nodes going on in both lungs, it kind of pushes me out of clinical trials, things of that nature because of the lung involvement. So, I'm still hopeful. I'm not giving up in no kind of way. But, I'm just wondering if anyone else has some lung involvement that I just haven't heard about, or
If anyone else has lung involvement, is that what you asked?
Yeah.
So who else has experienced, either themselves or the person they were giving care for? Anyone else have any issues with their lungs from RMC where it's metastasized to the lungs in this group?
Richard
Yes.
did not. Okay, go ahead.
Go ahead, Andre.
Yes. The cancer spread to my lymph nodes and to my lungs as well. The chemotherapy and the radiation really helped with shrinking those tumors and clearing out that area. The radiation really helped with the lymph nodes in my in the area close to the kidney where they removed my kidney from.
Yeah, they haven't suggested radiation at all. I'm just doing chemo.
Just so you know, I'm sorry. I just thought this would be a great time to tell you. I did not do radiation. I did it one time, but my body reacted in a way that was so abnormal, and like I was just so physically ill. So I didn't continue to do it, and it still put me in remission. I'm not saying without it, it just something to think about as well, just that it's not, that way or no way at all,
Yeah,
Gotcha.
So I would tell you that.
the chemo really helped to shrink my lymph nodes, but I had problem areas with those lymph nodes that was close to the kidney where the tumor and stuff started growing in my right kidney or whatever. So the radiation really, I did a combination of chemo and the radiation that really helped clear that area out for me or whatever. So it may be an option for you. I don't know exactly which chemo are you doing now?
Gemcitabine and
Doxorubicin?
bortezomib or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I started out with doxorubicin and gemcitabine, and that worked for a little while. Then they switched me to carboplatin and Taxol, which that was the last chemo I did with the combination of the radiation. It really helped finish killing those cancer cells in my lymph nodes.
I did gemcitabine, carboplatin, and paclitaxel. Those were the 3 that I did.
How did you find, I'm talking specifically to Andre now, because we work with a bunch of men that they do a taxane base like docetaxel, and then they do a carboplatin. Did you find the carboplatin was harder on your system than the docetaxel?
So my body actually been reacting pretty well to most of the chemo, but with the carboplatin, I started developing the neuropathy in my feet. So that was one of the, I guess, kind of like one of the major things that I'm kind of dealing with now is the neuropathy in my feet or whatever. But I kind of handled the other chemo pretty well.
I've got to share something with you then, because he's a lot older than you, but our board president just finished docetaxel and carboplatin combination. He went through 6 cycles, and the last 2 cycles were really rough on him, and he did have neuropathy, but he got neuropathy. He also got a lot of swelling, edema, build up of liquid. He said that he just went to an acupuncturist and he got a lot of relief for his neuropathy from acupuncture. So you might want to think about that, Andre. I suffer from neuropathy. It's not bad. It's left over from my cancer treatment. But I know how painful it is and how unpleasant it is. And Peter just told us that he got his he had his first session with an acupuncturist, and it really seemed to help him a lot. And they know where the points are. So if you go into a good acupuncturist and you tell them I got neuropathy in my feet, they're going to know the points to treat. The big problem is that it's not permanent. So you have to go back like every 3 weeks for another acupuncture session. But you know, your TRICARE should, I'm sure your TRICARE will cover that. But why don't you, think of, if you can, of where are you now? Back in Alabama, or are you back at work now or not?
I'm currently in Alabama. I'm not at work. I'm actually I got to go through the med board process to see if I can actually continue in the military. So I'm actually waiting to go through that process right now. But I am back in Alabama.
Well, certainly before you go through that process, see if you can get some relief from some on your neuropathy, because I mean it's impossible to go marching anywhere when you've got that neuropathy in your feet, man.
Yeah. I can't. I can't fit on my boots.
I know. So go ahead, Lois.
If I may ask, what is this actually side effect in the feet? What are the symptoms of that?
Okay, so this is called neuropathy.
Neuropathy, right?
Yeah. And it can be anywhere, pretty much anywhere in the body. It's basically that the nerves get disturbed. And so you don't see anything. The foot or the fingers or the hands or the arms, everything looks normal, but you get this very, very intense pain. For some people, it's like somebody stabbing you with a pin.
All right.
And it's the nerves that are acting up, and it's very common. It's a very common side effect from chemotherapy. Some types of chemotherapy give it you worse than others. So carboplatin, which Andre got, is known to cause neuropathy.
Because Penina is getting carboplatin this time, but doesn't seem to suffer from that. Maybe not yet, but she actually complained about some pains in the back or in her waist when she first got gemcitabine. This. I think here in Greece it's like Gemzar, the name of this medicine.
I'm not familiar with that med. Alexa, are you familiar? No. So I can't.
Richie, do you know gemcitabine?
Gemcitabine?
Gemcitabine. Yeah. When Fenina first got that in the summer, experienced some pain. So I got what it might be like, right? Okay, but not now.
And everybody react differently to based on the chemotherapy
and to different medicines, right?
Exactly. So I see that Karen's asking for a good acupuncturist in the Houston area. Karen, are you at MD Anderson?
Yes, she is.
Yeah.
So what I would do is go to they have an integrative medicine group. holistic medicine, integrative medicine, but I know they have a group, and ask for, and there'll be an acupuncturist there.
Okay.
So how you do that, Karen, is you'd ask for a referral to the integrative medicine clinic. You do have to have about a 90-minute visit before you can see or do any of their services, but they do have an acupuncturist there, but they also do have to say it's okay.
Okay.
Right now, for you, Andre, obviously it's more difficult. I mean, you're not going to go over to Houston for an appointment, obviously, but maybe you can ask around and see what's local to you. Get that Critney working on it. She'll work on it.
I'm already on it. I'm already on it.
She's already looking up where the acupuncturists are. I know what she's doing. But I really think that you could get some relief for I don't want to promise anything, but I've heard it before from several people, and it can work. But like I say, it only lasts a certain amount of time, and then you have to go back and you have to get a repeat treatment. Well, listen, everybody, I'm afraid I gotta go. Because it's getting late and we've gone well over the hour and a half, but I want to tell you, we really got this thing rolling towards the back end, Richie. You see,
I think so.
Here's what I wanted you to see. You don't need to have a lot of questions. We see what Joyce did. I got Joyce talking, and then all of a sudden everybody's talking to each other. We don't even need operators. Right?
You are the greatest.
Well, we're gonna train you to do the same thing, and I happen to think that Alexa can do that, and she's one of your moderators. I think she's good at doing that, and we'll find something. Yes, it's good to have a topic. It's good to have questions, but a lot of times you don't need that. You don't need those questions. If I turn around, and I'm not going to do it because we've got to get off, we've got to finish up. If I turn around to that Carissa and asked her for what the most important lesson she learned was going through the whole experience, the medical lesson she learned, that would give us something to talk about for a good half an hour. So we're going to come and ask you that next time, Carissa, okay? You think about it.
Be ready.
Okay.
Well, we'd like to thank everybody. Our next meeting will be the second Tuesday in October. I believe it's October 13th at the same time.
Yeah.
We will send out the link as we always do. And Lois, we're just so excited that you were able to join us. We know you had a good time. We're working out.
I finally got up, right. Thank you very much for the invitation. I think it's great to meet you all there.
Lois, I want to tell you that there's another group that we run for male breast cancer. And we're actually starting a meeting for men who live in the UK and Europe and Africa at a convenient time for them. And that'll be our first group meeting, and now maybe we'll do another one that will for RMC so that we can bring people in. I mean, we do recognize the time doesn't work for you, but
Okay.
slowly we'll get there so that we can work something out. And I'll work with Richie to talk about a second meeting that will be easier for you.
Okay. Maybe next time we can meet that Spanish boy or his family, Richie, the family from Spain that you talked about.
Right, exactly. I'll try to connect and see if we can meet up.
Yeah, have they contacted you?
Yes.
All right.
We've been communicating the past couple of days.
Right. Okay. That's good.
How's your daughter's English? Is it as good as yours? Is it as good as yours?
She just got here the Cambridge FC last year.
Okay.
Okay, she talks. I could help her as well.
Maybe we should get her to write to McKenna. What do you think?
Yeah, I asked her. Yeah, and I think she start communicating on Messenger with McKenna because I think they are friends on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think I've heard from her yet, but I'll keep my eye open.
I don't know, McKenna, has she, let's say, applied on Facebook? I'm not sure. She said that she would do it on or on Instagram.
Okay.
Teenagers use Instagram more.
I know. I kind of flip between the two. I'll look for it.
Yeah, I'm not sure what she did actually, because I asked her, okay, try to find McKenna. She's closer to your age.
I think I'm going to assign McKenna to do our Instagram and Twitter. Yeah.
Richie, can you try and connect McKenna to Lois? What's your daughter's name?
Fenina.
Fenina.
Can you try, Richie, will you try and connect Fenina and McKenna? Thank you.
Do that. I will do that.
All right.
That's great. That's great.
I found her.
Pardon?
I found her on Facebook.
Fenina. 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 Fenina Vasilou.
Yes, I got her.
Yeah. She's in a red jacket in the picture.
Yeah. I just accepted her friend request, so we're friends now.
All right. Yeah. I think
now they're talking.
Yeah.
All right. Alexa,
I'll tell her in the morning that she could say hello to McKenna.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting your amazing people all there, like a big family.
That's right. We have a large family.
I'd love to see you in Greece sometime.
I'm coming.
When COVID is away.
Okay.
We're having trouble.
Okay, so we'll close out this meeting. So we'll stop the recording, and then I'll write to you tomorrow. I'll write to you in the morning, Richie, or I'll give you a call over the weekend, and we'll give you the link so you can distribute this, because this is great. And then Alexa, you want to come back on in 5 minutes and we can talk? Is that convenient?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Okay. Bye, everybody. Keep going and stay strong. Stay strong.
Everybody stay strong. Love you.
We will.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.